Okay, we're back again. I've been away for a little bit, about 2 weeks. I have not been feeling that great, and just getting through recordings has been tough. But let's rock and roll. Let's get to it. We're gonna do some cough drops and drink some water and just get through it. Talking about today, what does it truly cost in money wise to purchase a home? What are the things that you're going to need? How much money are you going to need via out of pocket or through grants, programs, seller help, however you come across that number? What's going to be the thing that's going to make it um, possible for you to become a homeowner? So, as a real estate agent here in the Washington, D.C. metro area, that is something that I can help you with. So let's talk about it. So one of the things that I absolutely love is breaking down these numbers, so people can truly understand what's going on and where all the dollars are going. There is something called a settlement sheet that you get at the end of the day, and that will explain to you where all dollars have been allocated and what you're actually covering. Well, let's talk about it right now before we even get to the settlement table, so you're not surprised. So here's the thing. The first thing you're going to be asked about is an earnest money deposit. They call this the good faith um, deposit. Why do you need a good faith deposit? What does that mean when in good faith? So, say you see a beautiful home, you absolutely love the home. You're in contention because you're not the only one that thinks the home is beautiful. So that's the easy process to come across when everybody thinks the house is absolutely stunning. So, with that being said, you want the owners to understand that you truly love this house and this house is the one for you. Now, most times I do base it on the cost of the home. Do we do 1%, 2%? I also base it on what's going on in the market. It could be varied as to what you will give and move forward with and all the things. So when it comes to purchasing a home, making that determination of how much will I use on my earnest money deposit, the first thing you should think of is ask me as the realtor, what is the market like? What do I feel would get sellers' attention? Because here's the end all be all. You have to absolutely love this home for someone for you to commit to put dollars towards it, whether you're going loan, cash, anything. You need to really truly love this home. So let's not put offers on houses just because it's something to do. It's a game and it's a competition. No, we want you to truly, truly, absolutely love the home. We want you to be like, you know what? I have got to have this one. This is the one. Like, please, in all honesty, get me this one. And my first question, besides earnest money deposit, will be what would you give for this house? And you would never complain. You would feel no way about it after the fact. Hmm. So that is the end all be all question for me. That is say the house is on the market for 550. That's a price point that is very common around here where I live in Accokeek, Maryland. So if 550 is the price of the home, you went through the open house, you went to show it, and it was always people coming in and out. People were talking very highly of this home, and your agent says, "Hey, houses around here usually go up to 600. That's about the average." It's not a press to say, "Oh, you need to give 600." It's a let's set the tone for what this could come to be. Because if this is the house that you absolutely must have at a 550, what would you do to make this a more, you know, equitable situation for yourself as the purchaser of the home and the seller of the home? What would you do to attract them? What would you do to motivate them to look over everyone else and pick you? And sometimes it's not even the dollar amount that'll make the difference. It's the small little intangibles in the middle that'll factor out at the end. I can tell you on my seller side that sometimes when I get offers that are just too high, it's just like you're thinking that this number is going to bump everybody out of contention when it doesn't make sense on the other end. If they're asking me for closing help, if they're asking me to give them a home warranty, if they're asking for just a number of different things that will equate across the long run where my seller doesn't win, then I'm not going to pick that offer. So being super strategic is important. So being strategic in your choices is super important when it comes to offering on a home. So with that being said, the house is 550. The neighborhood goes up to 600. What do you want to offer? And what will you offer where you won't feel bad about it? If you win, lose, or draw, you will not feel bad about it. You will say, I put my best foot forward and I did it as aggressively as I could within my means. Because let's say 575 is the top of your budget. You just can't do any more. And that's reasonable. That's true. Do what you can do. Don't extend yourself. Don't put yourself in a as my granddaddy used to say, in the 10 card hole where you cannot. I don't know what that technically means, but I know it's not good when it comes to card playing. I'll say that much. But when it comes to making an offer on a home, what makes more sense for you as in your life, your family, however you choose to put it? Is 575 the top of what you can do? Can you put some more cash on top of it? Maybe, maybe not. Do you need all the closing help? Is that something we can manipulate and massage and make that look a little bit more attractive on the opposite end? Do we do a 575 and we say, hey, we don't need any closing, or give us 1% in closing, and we'll put down, and we come back to the earnest money deposit. We'll put down 1% of the sales price, and that'll be $5,750. So now someone's saying, oh, they put a lot of money out. When I see 10,000 and 20,000, I know, whew, these people got money. They have money and they're not playing around. They're here to make a difference in the offer. Sometimes the type of loan is considered as well when it comes to price, strategy and things of that nature. Having a lender call in and back up your offer is also a good thing that I think kind of cements you as you talk to the lender's on top. The lender calls back, is very responsive, and all the good things. So on and on and on we go. So that's a way a strategy we can go about getting into a home. Another piece of the puzzle besides the earnest money deposit is something called transfer and recordation taxes. That is another fee that your seller would have to pay. You as the buyer would have to pay. Everybody pays on both sides. So if you were to make an offer, the 575, you decided to put down 1%. You're asking them for 1%, which is 5750. Kind of balances out a little bit. You kind of see how that plays into it. But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at the numbers down the sheet, it looks very attractive. Let's say the transfer and recordations for both sides is 6,000. So that's even, it's usually a 50-50 cut. So 6,000 down the middle, that's 3,000. Say you wanted to say, hey, I'll pay your transfer and recordation taxes to lessen your worries. Sellers are like, ooh, what's that? What does that mean? 3,000 may not seem like a lot to people, but if it's one less thing that I don't have to worry about as a seller, it makes it even more attractive to me. So sometimes those are the strategies you can go about. But let's get back to how much money you actually need when it comes to purchasing a home. So the earnest money deposit, that is that good faith offer that you put up, that you say to people, this is how interested I am in your home. And I'm showing you I have dollars as proof that I am not going to just go around town and bob offers all over the place. I am here. I am very serious. I love your home. And this is what I want to put up so you can see how serious I am. That's it. Sorry. So you put down the earnest money deposit. The lender is going to present you with terms. You're either going to do an FHA, a conventional, a VA, or a USDA. A USDA loan is 0% down. A VA loan is 0% down. If you're not a veteran, there's more than likely you cannot use the VA loan option as zero down. USDA is determined by the different areas that you could live in. So there are certain areas in PG County, Charles County, and about. The more rural, the better. Each address can be looked up on USDA to determine if it qualifies for the program. You have to qualify for the program. You have to have a certain amount of money that you make, or you can't go exceed over the number, the dependents in your household, debt to income ratios, all the things. There we go. That's how that works. So you have these options to come up with the down payments. FHA starts at 3.5%. It's 3.5% of the sales price that you're going to see. So whatever that sales price is, you're going to need 3.5% of the sales price to put down on the home. When it comes to conventional can be 3, 5, 10, 15, 20. It can go, the numbers can range. And that's a loan with, it's better if you have a higher credit score. It favors you more as far as your mortgage insurance is concerned. I don't get into all of that because I'm not a lender. I just tell you the basics of the information that I've been given over the years and things the way I've seen things play out. So, got all that out of the way. What type of loan will you be using? Most people generally go the easier route, which is FHA, and that's 3.5%. So that's the easiest route into the process. So now you've done your earnest money deposit, your down payment. You do not need your down payment at the time of contract. Your down payment will be resolved at closing. So you are putting together this money where you will show the bank that you already have this money, and you'll be ready for closing in 21 days, 30 days, 45, 60 days, whatever the type of loan process you're going through. So at that point, you're going to put that money to the side. The 5750 has already been accounted for. And now we're going, let's say we accept the contract. We have it. We are under contract. We're ready to move forward. Awesome sauce. Let's go. Now you have a ratified contract, which means both parties have agreed to all the terms on both sides of the table. You have put up this 5750. Once again, this is just an example. 1%. It depends on the house, price of the house. We can do 2,000, 3,000. It's all the different things. It just all depends. Let me throw this caveat in there. New construction, generally we have to put the deposit that they're requesting to go under contract to take this thing seriously. They're the seller in that situation, so we need to ask for something. If we need a little help, if we need a little time, definitely have a conversation with somebody to put the money together. All builders are not treated equally. Everybody has a different, everyone has a different number that they're looking for. I've heard from my other agents that they think EMD is a bullying method or something to that notion. I personally don't feel that way. It's not my, I just believe that you should have some skin in the game so people can see how serious you are. Once again, that's up to you how you navigate and go through that. So let's talk about it. Now we're doing our down payment. Down payment is not due until closing. Don't forget that. So if you're worried about, I got to come up to 5750 to 3.5% or whatever you determine with your lender is going to be put down on the house to make the payment wherever you want it to be, that is not due until then. Now we move on to, we are under a contract. Everybody has accepted to all the terms. If there's an inspection contingency, there's going to be an appraisal pool. You will be paying the lender for the appraisal, or they will figure out a way to add it into the cost at the closing table at the end. Appraisals can be anywhere to $400 to $500 to $600 depending upon the lender. That is not and the lender is picking an unbiased person to pull the appraisals. That's where those funds are going to pull an appraisal. The appraisal is yours. Once the appraisal is done, the lender will get a copy. They can send you a copy, and we're just looking for the appraisal to state this is the value of the home. This is the value of the homes that surround the home. So we have to be in line with what's going on in the community. Appraisers usually don't go with that with outside of 2 miles. They pick houses that are super comparable and very much alike. So we want to keep all that in mind when it comes to picking the proper, when picking a home keeping all those numbers in mind. As a real estate agent, I can pull comps to determine what would be a possible number someone could go with in the area to give my clients more information on how they can produce a better offer. Done. So now we are doing inspections. Inspection is a cost that is usually covered by the buyer. If your agent can do it, that's nice and sweet, but usually it's a cost incurred by you. The report is yours to keep. You share it with your lender. You review it after the fact. How much do inspections cost? Inspections can range. One, based on the size of the home, the type of inspections performed. Um, yeah, size of the home and the type of inspections performed. So the bigger the square footage, the more house they have to cover, the more house they have to work. That's going to be basic. I've seen them as low as 375. I've seen them as high as 1200. It just all depends. You do want to have a termite inspection done. Most people do, especially with the VA. They definitely get those done to make sure that the house hasn't had any termites. You can see if someone's treated their house for termites. You can also determine if it needs to be treated. And this is something you can possibly go back and tell the seller, hey, you have a termite issue. This house needs to be treated. Blah blah blah. Is blah 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 official? Probably not, but you know what I mean. So okay, so now we've done that. The potential termites are usually $35 to $100, depending on the company that does them. Most inspection companies do them along with the home inspection, but some people don't. So you have to get an outside vendor to take care of that. So you want a whole home inspection. They should be checking the roof, the foundations, any plumbing, electrical boxes, and things of that nature. Those are the big worries for me. And all of the units, HVAC, hot water heaters, appliances in the kitchen, making sure things are working properly. Light switches are flipping, windows open, all the good things that come along with owning a home. Now, please, I just had this conversation with an agent the other day. Please don't come to a home that is built in 1961 and have 2025 expectations. It's an older home. It's going to have things, but everything does not have to be perfect as long as the house is in good working shape. You definitely don't want to nitpick on a house that age because you're going to find all kinds of crazy things. You want to be confident and secure about HVAC, hot water heaters. I just had a client, they moved in, the hot water heater burst a couple days after they moved in. Was it because the house had been sitting for about a month before that? Only one person was using it. We don't know. But in the inspection, the hot water heater was fine. Had some age on it, but it didn't need to be replaced. And it probably would have been a hard conversation to have with a seller for a hot water heater that worked perfectly fine for them. But unfortunately, it bust, so we had to get it replaced. They had a home warranty that I had supplied them with, so it worked out in the end. Just something just popped in my head. So I just had this conversation with another agent. It's that expectation that the house is perfect because it's your first time owning it. That doesn't mean it's not anyone else's first time owning it. You want to be aware that these are issues, and you should be prepared to be a homeowner. What are the small things? You need to go to Home Depot and do caulk. You buy caulk, and you need to buy the little things that will maintain and keep your house going. I personally need to go and re-caulk my shower. I just looked at it and I was like, okay, it's about time. We had it done a couple months ago. Usually to do it, I think it was more than a couple. It's probably been about 8 months. So usually you should re-caulk every year, all your surfaces, your kitchens, your bathrooms, things of that nature. The other parts of inspections that can happen is well and septic. I live in rural territories, so well and septic is a real thing for me. Excuse me. Congestion is crazy. Well, Well and septic. If you live on a system that's not covered by public water, you will be paying for a well and septic. Well and septic system is where all your waste goes. So that system needs to be checked to make sure that the drain fields, which is where, excuse me, where, sorry guys, this has been crazy to deal with. It's like I have to get the cough out to get going, keep going. Either way, um, the drain fields, you want to make sure that they maintain and keep water the way they should. So the water should be slowly going away. So when they come and check the septic, they're gonna make sure it's not full. They're gonna make sure that the water doesn't have any bacteria to it. So if it's coming from the well, they're gonna test it for all the different things that you should be aware of. Um, it's a testing that goes off site, and they do like we used to do in science class, the little litmus strips, and make sure that the balances are correct in the home for the water that you're going to be consuming on a daily basis, washing with, eating, drinking, all the things. So that is part of the well water. The cool part about well water is you don't have a water bill. Your only job is to maintain that well, make sure that the septic gets pumped out and all the things. Here's the kicker. The maintenance does not need to be done yearly. It's just something you need to keep in mind. Be aware that certain things can't go into the system when it comes to like having garbage disposals and things. So your throwaway is a little different. And the things that you dump into the sink are going to be way different than someone who has public water. So that's something to take into consideration when it comes to having well water. Those tests can really cost you. They can change the price of the inspection from $500-$600 to $800, $900, $1,200, depending on what you need. There's a video I have out there where if you need to go and do a pick test, and that means they have to pick in the ground and go check the septic because they can't get to it. If the septic is underground and they don't have a cap exposed to the visible eye, you would have to have somebody come in with a backhoe, dig, find the cap, pull the cap up, and that's the way. Another additional cost. So it costs to have this inspection done. It does not cost to have a well and septic. It's just something that comes along with it. So take that into consideration. Now you've got your earnest money deposit. You have got appraisal fees. You've got your down payment to consider, and these upfront costs are going to be your earnest money deposit and your appraisal and your inspection. A young lady used to say years ago, she was an agent. She used to ask people, "Hey, do you at least have $1,500? $500 for the inspection and $1,000 for the down payment." Those were the good old days when you could get away with putting down $1,000 on a home. Now, once again, it all depends on the seller, all depends on the situation, what's going on. That can still be possible, but lately we have not been doing $1,000 down payments. So moving on, we've gotten through our earnest money deposit, the explanation of that, what that means to you. That's one of your upfront costs. Your down payment is going to be expected at closing. And now let's have a conversation about your closing help. What is not closing help, closing costs? The closing costs are a combination of costs. They are going to be derived from, in Maryland, in DC, and Virginia, we are a title. So the title company is going to have different costs that come along with placing the house in your name. They're going to do title searches. They're going to be looking around for different things. What's a title search? They're going to take the home that you're considering, and they're going to look back. I believe they look back at least 60 years, just to say there are no liens, no one owes anything. This is actually the people who are trying to sell the home. This is their home. They provided the correct proof and things of that nature. This is not a scam. This is all real. That's some of the stuff that they determine. The other piece is recordation taxes. Going back to that number again, we're talking about this transfer and recordation from the old seller to you as the new seller. That is a cost that most states have. Most states, counties have. If you are a Maryland first-time home buyer, there is a discount, a credit you receive. It is not a significant amount of money. It is not this crazy $4, $5, $6,000. It depends on the cost of the house, is the percentage that you will receive. I've seen houses in the 400,000s get like 850 or something to that notion. It could just all depends on the number of the cost of the home. So when people tell me, "Hey Lisa, I'm a first time home buyer. What do I get?" You really don't get anything. You would have to qualify for programs and for grants and things that would cover you. There are tons of grants out here in the industry. In Maryland, we have the Maryland Mortgage Program. We have Shanoa, First Home. There's so many that line up. But guess what? A lot of people can get those. It's not a special thing because you're a first-time home buyer. Some of them you just can't own another home at the same time. How do you fix that problem? You sell your home in the morning. You buy this home in the afternoon. That's how that problem is solved. But as a first-time home buyer, there is no kiddie pool of money that is just sitting around waiting for you to take advantage of. There may be a grant that you would apply for, and it's no payment back to you. Maybe you have to own the home for 3 to 5 years. That's something that you could get as a first time home buyer or just a home buyer in general. But if you make $300,000-$400,000 a year, the likelihood of you qualifying for any of that is really, really not true. It's not going to happen. Unfortunately, sorry, it is what it is. I guess at that assumption, at that level of pay, people just assume you have cash. Not my rules. So you're going to get all of the costs that come with the settlement company and all the processes and things they have, getting deeds and all of that. Every line item is broken down. Now, your lender has costs. He's got mortgage insurance. He's got credit pulls, appraisals, all the application fees, all the different things that come along with being a lender. My lender, awesome, super amazing, usually ends up giving you a credit at some point. And that could be a few $100s as well. All these dollars count. Then you're going to see the cost of the home. You're going to see the actual deposit that you put down. We're going to go back and see that earnest money deposit in a spreadsheet. It is like an accounting ledger. It's a debit and credit. What is debited and what is credited to you? All the things you receive. So if you were to ask that seller, "Hey, can you give me," once again, we go back to that 1%. So the 1% of the 575 is 5750. And you say, "Hey, can you give me that?" And you agree upon that. In the credit side, you're going to see 5750. And then you're going to see your earnest money deposit and anything else that's been given to you or granted your way. All in those numbers. And as you sit down with a settlement officer, like my amazing settlement officer, you're kind of going to get an explanation of every line down the road. So people really get panicky and they're like, "Oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen." So I like to work with partners who really will take the time and energy to tell you everything that you're experiencing and everything that you're seeing, so you don't feel like you're in the blind about what you just signed, because you are signing a ton of papers. So we want to make sure that you know what you're signing and you feel comfortable with it. I think that's super important. So as a realtor sitting at that table, I'm sitting there to ensure that you remember the conversations that we've had, or if anything comes up that you don't remember, you're just not sure about, make sure we explain all that away so you can move forward and be aware of all the numbers. So we have done your earnest money deposit, the down payment, and the differences between the two, because they truly they do not have anything to do with the other. If you put down an earnest money deposit, once again, that money is still being credited to you in the purchase of the home. So it reduces what you would need at the table if you've already put up a certain amount of money. So if you have to put up the 3.5%, and then you need to come and finish out the rest of the closing help, which can be anywhere from 2.5 to 5%, depending on if you're doing new construction or if you're doing resales. New construction is always going to be more expensive. You're going to pay basically almost double when it comes to new construction, when it comes to the closing help in new construction. So when a lender, not a lender, I'm sorry, when a builder says to you, I'm going to give you $20,000 towards closing, what is that resale person going to give you? They don't have to give you 20,000 in that instance, because it's going to be much cheaper to close on that house than it would on a new construction house. And does that deter people from buying new construction? No. They want new construction. They want new construction. Am I deterring you? No. I'm just telling you what the numbers are and how they will roll out. So if you wanted a new construction home, please be aware that instead of costing you maybe 22,000, it may cost you 40. So when a builder gives you, let me get that straight in my head. When the builder gives you 20,000 towards closing, they're evening the playing field between resale and new construction. And I'm not mad at them. I'll take it. Can you get more money? Possibly. Depends on the market. Depends on what that builder thinks, and do they have anything going on that they could help you with? Not help you. I'm sorry. If this is something, we call them inventory homes. When it comes to an inventory home, these are homes that the builder has built either with a person in mind that put a contract on them, or they just built them to have immediate inventory ready to go. That's why they call them inventory homes. They're ready to go. You can come pick one and move on. Those houses are generally a different price. There are usually different advantages and incentives tied to them to make them more attractive, so they can get them off the books. So an inventory home may give you a free sunroom. They may finish the basement for you, or they may give you, instead of giving 20,000, they may give you 30,000 towards closing help to incentivize you to purchase and take that inventory home off their hands. This is a house that if someone wrote a contract, they did not complete, and now the builder has this building that they have to get rid of. So let's talk about the fact that what I love, the people, when you're picking, when you have the option to pick all your finishes in your home. Years ago, if there was a custom builder or something, so you could pick anything you want. I mean, you could have a blue bathroom here, a green bathroom there. The kitchen could be totally different. The flooring. The builders have kind of reined that in. Not all builders, but the big national builders, they have reined that in. So you're not making these crazy decisions. So if your contract falls through, they can't sell a house that only you love. They can sell a house that someone else would pick. So they usually package things up and say, hey, this package goes together with this carpet, this flooring, because they know it's going to be attractive to more than just you. Makes sense. When you deal with the bigger builders, they're not as custom, and they don't allow a lot of different changes. So the floor plan is the floor plan is the floor plan. I work with another builder who is more custom, and you can change the walls, you can change the doors, you can make all those changes, but you're more locked into their contract than you would be a national builder. You have really put a lot of money up in the beginning to start this party. So you are definitely 9 times out of 10 going to be on the hook for that house once you get to the end. Now, things come up. I know we are dealing with a government shutdown right now, and I am in the nation's capital, and I can tell you true, as a former federal government employee, it is not fun. It is not a good time. And I think I can say this much. This is the craziest one I've ever seen. And I was in the government almost 25 years. This is the craziest time I've ever seen. I've never seen it this unstable and not sure. So I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're just gonna keep moving. We're gonna get up every day and take a deep breath and move on. But either way, long story short, let's talk about what that means if someone needs to back out of a contract. I think a lot of builders are compassionate and understanding if something really truly traumatic is going on, job loss or something like that, and you cannot qualify for the loan. Um, there is you can have a conversation. I'll just say it that way. Let's have a conversation, and most people are compassionate. Most people are. I won't say everybody. Most are compassionate. I am a new build girl, and we're going to have more conversation about new build and how to break this thing down and what you truly can get in a home. I'm also going to speak to more to the areas that I live in, PG County and Charles County. I do have another page that just supports PG and Charles County exclusively, the types of homes you can buy, the different conditions that you buy them under, and all the things that kind of come with it. I hope that today this video has, this live recording has spoken to what you need in a home, what you need when it comes to purchasing a home as far as the dollars. You're going to need that earnest money deposit. That number can vary. It depends on the type of loan you're going to have, where the down payment can definitely vary. You can go from 0 to 3.5 to 5, 10, 15%, depending on if you're going to have FHA, conventional, USDA, VA, all of the things. And then closing help, the pieces that the settlement company puts in, then your lending company is going to have some charges, and then the state's going to have some charges, and then all of the numbers will be reflected there and shown to you. If I have a moment, I will, the next time I'm up on screen, if I'm not going to do it here, I'll probably do it somewhere else and push the recording here, is to have the backdrop of a settlement sheet with everybody's name and information blurred out so you can understand what that looks like. It's not, it's overwhelming at first if you've never seen it before, but if you talk through it, you can really see how that process works. So that is my objective. But once again, we have the earnest money deposit. We are here to show people that we are truly, truly interested in their home, and that it is, this is all that you want to put up to show how in love with this home you are. You have the down payment, which is based on the type of loan you take in, and the closing help is the help to purchase all the different fees that are involved with purchasing a home. The lender fee is the title fees, the state and county fees that come along with purchasing a home. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as possible, and I'll see you again live soon. Bye, guys.